Before you go, can you talk about your grandfather for a minute? I was close to my grandfather. He passed away many years ago. But I think for a lot of us, especially black men, we have a connection with our granddads, and it appears that he's always with you as you are going through this
Yeah.
election cycle. Can you just speak to him and just give the audience a bit of a taste of who he was?
Yeah, well, my grandfather was he was a simple man in some aspects. He was a quiet man in some aspects, but he was a strong man too. You know, uh, he actually stopped school in fourth grade. He only had a fourth grade education. He could write his name, but he was not the strongest reader and all. But my grandfather taught me so much. He taught me so much about just being a man, about keeping your word, about working very hard. Because I don't think I've met anybody in my life who worked harder than my grandfather did. And he just had a heart of gold. He would always try to help other folks. And so he was such a tremendous, role model for me. And, society would look at him as not a man who probably doesn't have much to add, but he added so much to my life and to the lives of my family, and we miss him dearly. He passed away in 2004. I remember one of the things that sticks out for me, Clay. My grandparents lost their home due to fraud, and it devastated my grandfather because he always was vigilant in terms of paying his bills. And I was in middle school at the time, and we were forced to live on the couches and sleep in spare beds of family members. And I made a promise to myself that one day I was going to get my grandma and my grandfather a house. So in 2004, I graduated from law school, came back down here, worked on the campaign, and in that August, I was able to buy them a house. And it was one of the greatest moments of my grandfather's life. That's what he told me. Well, my grandfather only got a chance to live in that house for a few months because he passed away that November. But those 3 months or those few months that he was able to live there were some of the greatest months of his life. And he would often tell me, he said, Jamie, I feel it's such peace and I can't thank you enough. It's about keeping your promises. It's about making sure you fight for those folks who you love and who love you. That's what this is all about. And so my grandfather in his spirit is always with me each and every day because I think of him when I think of and do anything in this life. I think of the people like him. I need to be a voice for so many like him, and I will be.
Well said. Well, I want to tell you this. I told Reverend Warnock this as well. You were on the show. You were on the show months and months ago. I think it was January, and you came back to Black Radio. You're now on The View and all these other networks. But it's so important to come back here to Black Radio and talk to this audience. It's so crucial. And you said you would, and you did. And I appreciate you keeping that promise. I really do.
Oh, of course, man. And we have also pumped millions of dollars into Black radio here in South Carolina as well because it's so crucial, it's so necessary. Many of us in our community, that's where we get our news, that's where we get the information. And so I wanted to make sure that we were investing early on. It's unprecedented amount of money that we put into Black radio, Black newspapers. It's important that we invest in our communities, and that's important to me.